Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Adam. I'm here with Yus.
What's up, guys? Smash that subscribe button because we're going to talk about the chaos of the summer transfer window. We're going to go into some players like
And Yus, before you go on to this timeline, okay, I'm a little bit worried because Laporta's coming out here saying Frenkie De Jong is not going to Man U or any other club, and I think it's a bold-faced lie like he had against Messi. And if we end up selling Frenkie De Jong,
and
I'm going to
Emerson,
be very upset. And Emerson, he'll be here for a lifetime, and then we sell him like 2 weeks later. So if that ends up happening, I'm gonna be mad. But go ahead and run through the whole table of contents.
Okay, so we're gonna go over Kessie, Christensen, Raphinha, Frenkie, Dembele, Lengelet, Depay, Traore, LDJ, which you just had mentioned right there. Or sorry, that's Luuk De Jong, not Frenkie De Jong.
You're swapping him up, Yus.
Sorry, but
I know you're sad. The GOAT, Luuk De Jong, is going. He's
true.
going back to Sevilla.
That's
He's
true.
off of his loan, but. Let's get into it, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the first thing you said, I think we're going to go, some of these things are verified, bona fide truths. They have already happened, like the departure of Traore and Luuk De Jong.
Sure.
On the other hand, there are some, rumors that we're going to talk about with Dembele, Lengelet, and Frenkie. And then I think, like you said, to start it all off, we have Kessie and Christensen, and a member of the Barca team have been coming out saying that this week will be when we officially announce them as members of the team. If you guys remember, in the past week, we finally officially pulled the economic levers to sell, I think, 10% of the BLM, and I believe that was to some really no-name venture capital firm, it seemed like. It was called, 6 Degrees or something. I don't know. It was really weird. I checked out their Twitter page. They had very few followers. But the good news is, Yus, we're strengthening the midfield with Kessie, and we're getting more help in the backline with Christensen. And, those are 2 areas of the team that I think we really need to revitalize, especially with Busquets getting old, Frenkie De Jong getting injured sometimes, and Pedri getting injured sometimes.
You know what I'm excited about is, for example, Frank Kessie. He's 6 foot, 194 pounds. This guy is going to be a tank in our midfield. And, with our midfield right now, we have a lot of young guys who are a little rambunctious. They're very energetic. They move around a lot. And having someone who's a little larger in the midfield, able to kind of not only maneuver around players, but also be a little more of a aggressive physically in the middle is great, because sort of will be as a comparison to Busquets, right? He's a lot slower, a lot less physical. He gets pulled down all the time. He's always holding his face, getting fouled, getting kicked. I think Kessie will be a great addition there, and as well as Christensen.
And that kind of goes to what Koeman was saying, right? Koeman was kind of hating on Barca on the tiki-taka style, saying that we live in the past and that football is more physical. And I do remember how it was a breath of fresh air to have both Paulinho and Arturo Vidal, right? Even though they were there for some bad moments, I mean, they had some good performances, and they add just a different level of kind of that stereotypical box-to-box midfielder who's very physical. And I'm hoping that Kessie can kind of add a new dynamic, like you were saying.
Sure, yeah, and Christensen will be great as well. He's also a large guy, and I think he could do well with us because, other transfer news is possibly Lengelet could be leaving to Tottenham, so it'd be good to actually get a player who could be utilized way more than that, because we played Lengelet, I think, only a few times last season, including the last 2 games, and I'm happy about that. Yeah, that's true. But I think, some of the bigger news coming out is Raphina.
Well, real quick,
what?
I do think Lengelet could have a good career, man. Lengelet's one of those players who, even though he had so many bonehead mistakes, I remember how his peak was maybe 18-19 season, and how much he was a defensive stalwart and someone who we could count on so much. And I just feel like he has so much baggage with Barca, and I'm hoping that him going to Tottenham will be a chance for him to kind of revitalize his career, because he was really good for a time, right? There was a period when Umtiti had just gotten hurt, and we got Lengelet, and all of a sudden he became an out-and-out starter with PK, and we really, really valued his performances. Of course, he was there for Roma, Anfield, some of the big defeats, Bayern Munich as well. But I'm hoping he has a good career. So, I'm going to be excited to tune into Spurs games and watch him.
No, I agree. I wish him the best. Honestly, whatever happens to him, I liked watching him play in the limited time he had on the good times with us and the bad times. But, whatever. We're going to move on. It's his time to go, I believe. But well, like I was saying, Raphina is kind of the bigger news to me right now, because we had that whole time where if Leeds wasn't getting relegated, we weren't going to spend the money on him. But it looks like with the money that we got from all the economic levers, that we may be getting a signing of either around 50 million to 60 million euros, which is still a lot of money, and they're still talking about the acquisition of Lewandowski. So this whole thing would really bolster our attacking front with Fati.
I think it's bogus.
Well,
Chelsea are willing to pay more.
Okay.
And I think this is all just a ploy to get Dembele to sign. That's my honest-to-God truth here. I really think that we're just putting the pressure in the media that, like, oh, Raphinha is close to coming, because we're not going to take both Raphinha and Dembele. I don't see any chance that happens when we already have Torres, Fati, Depay, possibly Lewandowski. And so I really just think this is the Barca board putting the pressure on Dembele, getting him to sign, like we've already mentioned, that lowered contract in a hurry. What do you think about that?
It is a possibility, but I also feel like at this point in the whole Dembele saga, why now to do this whole thing when he could have signed for so long? And the difference in the contract, I think, is $1 million from what they had previously assigned him. And it's a fair point, because we know the Spanish media is always doing things like this to rile up, like how many times they did that to Neymar in that situation. But at the same time, I just feel like maybe they're done with Dembele. Maybe they just like, hey, I don't want to do this whole Dembele thing.
The thing that you have to realize, right, is also in the last 3 days, basically, we've seen a tremendous amount of reports that Dembele is closer than ever to re-signing. So it's not like this is just a one-sided thing where, like, okay, we're going to Raphina. Laporta has told Dembele the offer's off the table, right? Like the reporting on both sides, which again we have to look at critically, have been moving simultaneously, and it just seems a little bit too perfect that when Raphinha seemed like he had a deal ready with Chelsea, that all of a sudden Leeds would hold on it because Raphinha and his agent Deco, who of course has a good Barca ties, is all of a sudden trying to make the magic so they'll accept a lower bid from Barca. I'm not entirely buying it, and I think that you do have to look at the fact that there are reports Dembele is closer than ever, and it's just a little bit too perfect for me that all of a sudden both would be moving in tandem for basically the same position. It's a little bit too much for me.
The real overall criticism I have, whether or not Barca decide to sign Raphinha or Dembele, was I think when we first did the economic levers, I was saying the whole time, like, Barca should not be I don't know if the word wasting is correct, but just throwing money around, getting players here and there now that we have, how many ever millions of dollars, because that's how we got here in the first place, and that's how Bartomeu screwed us. And we had and with the whole rumors thing, Bartomeu he himself hired people, and that's how he got in trouble, right? To put out rumors. This is not in the same area, but it's not unheard of Barca, putting out rumors to trying to change things up in the team, So I definitely can see that as a possibility. I do hope that we get one of them, right, because we definitely need it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's I guess we probably have another 2 weeks to wait to see what happens.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah. But as you started this video off, or we started this video off, the Frenkie De Jong thing is, Laporta saying that, and what I just kind of want to...
I'm going to be so mad, dude. I already said it once, but I'm really, really going to be upset, and I don't know. Someone's going to have to stop me from going to Barca and yelling at Laporta, because it doesn't make... Dude, if he's coming out there and he's saying clear as day, right? I just remember just the hypocrisy of him hugging the Messi statue, telling Messi we all love you when he won president, and then, like you said, him telling Emerson at that unveiling at the Camp Nou he's going to be here for a long time, and then we trade him away 2 weeks later. If he came out and said Frenkie De Jong is going to stay at Barca, we want him, he's one of the best midfielders in the world. If we end up throwing him out to Manchester United, I'm going to be so mad, but man. I do understand. See, here's how these politicians get you, right? Yeah. Because Laporta throws in, the headline is Barca won't get rid of Frenkie De Jong, right? But one of the things he says there is that we will need Frenkie to reduce his salary, which... Yep. we always have kind of a touchy subject with a reduction in salaries from the Bartomeu time period, because at the same time that I understand fans want players to, think of the club, they have a contract that was signed that's paying them more money, and none of us who are listening to this or talking here would voluntarily really accept less money from an employer. So I understand that the team might need Frenkie to take a lower pay cut, but I don't see how it's possible he's going to, and I just think that, it's just going to be one of those moments where we look back on Laporta saying this and we're just like, why did he even say that if he knew Frankie's going to leave?
But if you don't believe the whole Leeds Dembele thing, and we talked about all the other politician moves that Laporta has already made since he came back to Barcelona, why would you believe him now is the question, right? How many times?
But why what type of deranged person goes out there and says something so clear as day when they don't mean it? I know, but it's just, I don't want to think of Laporta in that way, to be honest, but maybe I should.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough because if he does this will not be the first time, and that's the sad part, is that we would just be falling for the same thing over and over again. And at the end of the day, we're throwing away just like enormous talent that if we have the money now. And so why are we making a move like this, right? And why are we giving we're even trading him, like we gave away Messi, we gave away Suarez, we might almost give away Dembele if this whole thing doesn't go through, and now we might possibly give away Frenkie De Jong. I don't know. It puts the sporting director situation all out of faith if these players who are really there to be part of Barcelona are just being mistreated and mismanaged, and just that's not the Barca. This Barca, like, it's more than a club, Adam. How could we do that to our players, I don't know. That was
Well, I think the last few things of like bona fide news to talk about: Luuk De Jong headed back to Sevilla, Adama Traore headed back to Wolves. They are no longer on loan to Barca. I mean, nothing too surprising there, right? Traore added some fire for 2 weeks, basically, in January, but soon got found out by their clubs. And then Luuk De Jong had a bunch of great performances that I think a lot of fans, he'll be one of those cult hero players for Barca for a long time. Kind of reminding me of Paulinho in a little bit of a way, right? That guy who comes for one season, has some amazing performances. Even more amazing is just how Luuk De Jong had won us so many points in the league. I think it was upwards of like 10 points because of his late goals throughout the season. And so I'll miss them both, but it makes sense that they have to go. Just because I doubt the team is in the position right now to pay the transfer fees needed to keep them.
Sure. And do we really want to, right? It's kind of one of those thoughts where they did their job and they go back to their team and we move forward, and that's not the way we were trying to rebuild our team. And so I was happy to experience those games and live a little through them and watch some chaotic Barca play, but I think we're going to move on. Hopefully all of this transfer chaos is over in just a couple weeks, because it would be really great to talk about the potential of the team coming into next season with our actual players and who we can rely on coming into the season, and predictions, right? Because I think the first 3 games of the season have been officially set with times, and I'm excited to watch all of them, Adam. Is there any last words for you?
No, thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.